Okay, let's take a look at this new Ogrin fusion that's been released. Plarium released a bit of a statement with his champion just to get the direction of the devs. So this is the little information that they dropped yesterday. I want to read it because I think it's gonna give some insight into what the devs are thinking when they're designing this champion. And it's always important. Like it doesn't always work out that way. It doesn't always work out how the devs design a champion to be for it to be good in that way. But I want to exactly get some context on what their thinking is. So on November the 16th, we're planning to launch a champion fragment event with a new champion, Ugir the Wrymeater. Ogren Tribe's legendary Spirit Affinity HB based champion. Yugir will be an arena anti-revive champion. So kind of like Lydia, I'm already thinking with the anti-revive. Yugir brings quite a lot to the table when we're talking about the arena. Transferring and blocking buffs, removing buffs and weakening your enemies, buffing your own team. Weakening your enemies and buffing your own team paired with an accuracy aura in arena battles to ease using those effects. Accuracy is not the issue. The issue is sheep. I'm hearing a lot of sheep. Obviously, it's very problematic. As soon as you start talking about arena, we need to start playing around sheep. And transferring buffs or transferring debuffs and blocking buffs is sheep. Removing buffs is sheep. So if they literally mean weakening by adding the weak debuff, that's also a problem. But let's keep going with the rest of what they've said. What makes this champion stand out is the passive. Passives can be broken. Let's see what they have. Once an enemy revives an ally, Yugir instantly activates the A2 and attacks all enemies, removes all buffs from them, and places weaken debuff on top of that. Okay, there it is. Another strip, so another chance of getting sheeped. So if Duchess revives with like Veil, like non-perfect Veil and continuous heal, it's more chance to get sheep. This sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. But let's just keep going. Let's not get too down on what sheep is. Let's just pretend sheep isn't in the game for a second. Considering almost all revivers place some buffs on the revived champion, this passive skill might definitely come in handy. I don't really like the wording they've gone with. This passive might definitely come in handy. What does that even mean? What does might definitely mean? Like, reading this makes me less confident in this champion. They're really not selling me this champion by saying might definitely come in handy. You know, that's like some extra stuff you have in your pocket that isn't supposed to be there, but it might definitely come in handy. It's just extra weight. It does not sound promising at all. Low cooldown on the passive skill itself. Well, low cooldown means it does have a cooldown, which means it's not a low cooldown. You know, cooldown is bad. You know, it's like saying it's only got 8 turns of cooldown or 3 turns of cooldown. It's still got a cooldown. The best passives in the game don't have cooldowns itself, and the fact that it doesn't set the A2 on cooldown can be a factor as well. Can be again. I don't know who wrote this. Moreover, an interesting fact, if you look precisely at Yugi's design, you might notice that he wears a somewhat similar to Python scales and head. So if the revive is produced by someone from the Lizardman factions and Yuga's passive skill triggers the A2, its effects become irresistible. Okay. So if lizards do the revive, then he can't be resisted on a strip. Important note, Yuga the Wrymaster passive skill is only triggered by active revive skills and not the revive on death or other passive skills that include reviving. I see. So revive on death doesn't put his passive on cooldown, but that's neither here nor there. I believe this doesn't do anything to Mari's passive. Mari's passive doesn't actually do any buffs, but the weaken, if you wanted the weaken to be landed on like Taras so you can kill him afterwards, then it could be good, but I don't really, it's not going to happen either way. The passive will not be proccing on Mari since she revives with the passive. All in all, Yugir is definitely a valuable and fun champion for Arena. Okay, if you say so. I'm attaching the document with their skills. Okay, now that's the direction that is coming from Plarium. Now, obviously, I don't know who wrote this. I can't go ahead and say this is the devs who wrote this. It doesn't sound very promising from what I've read. But let's look at the kit. Maybe there's more to it than this person's been able to, translate. This is what the champion looks like. Let's see, like his in-game model. This is what he's gonna look like in game. He's kind of short. His weapon is way bigger than him. Kind of like a scythe sort of weapon. His design is cool. I can't lie. His design looks kind of poisoned, right? Because poison's kind of like purple in this game, I want to say. And it's got some sort of like he has like a void aura. Thank God they didn't make him void, because he already sounds pretty bad, and we already have a lot of bad void champions, so we don't need more bad void champions. But this is what he's going to look like in game. Cool enough. I wish a little bit of feedback for Plarium when they do these, when they send them to content creators, if they can add in some animations, like the character doing his abilities, so we can showcase like animations in an idle position, so people can see what they look like when they do their animations. You won't be able to see the full animation because it needs to hit a target to really be able to see, but it'd be nice to see like a little bit of animation. Unless this champion doesn't have one, then that's unfortunate. Anyway, moving on. 70 accuracy aura in arena battles. Accuracy in arena is not good unless you're going for lockout. That's the only time you need accuracy. There's nothing else you should be doing with accuracy in arena. There's like very niche scenarios where you would want accuracy, but that's no here nor there. We're not going to talk about that niche scenario. Lockouts are the only things that should take accuracy auras. Yumiko's the best example. If you have a warlord in your team, maybe you can stick a accuracy aura somewhere. But yeah, Yumiko is the one that wants the accuracy. Maybe you make a team with Yumiko and Yugir. I don't know why you would do that, but... Okay, let's see. Let me just put this somewhere where we can see what the kit is. Okay, we're going to start with the passive, because they said the passive is his strongest ability. So, Scourge of Dragons is a 2-turn passive. It books down to a 1-turn passive, which is pretty quick, but still it's not 0 turns, but it's okay. It's not like the enemy is going to revive multiple times. Maybe if they have multiple revivers like Duchess and Sifi, but I don't even think that the passive is that strong anyway. Whenever an enemy is revived, instantly activates Earth Puncture. If an enemy is revived by a champion from the Lizardman faction, the effects of Earth Puncture cannot be resisted. This passive effect would only activate when an enemy is revived using an active skill. Instantly activate Earth Puncture will not place the skill on cooldown. Instantly activating Earth Puncture won't place ability on cooldown. Activate when an enemy is revived. Instantly. What do they mean by instantly activating? That's why we're not putting on cooldown. If there are multiple champions in the team with this skill, only one will activate. Instantly activating Earth Puncture. So I think on revive, whenever Earth Puncture is used, when the opponent uses revive, then it won't go on cooldown. So if he takes a turn after that, he will still have Earth Puncture. Seems to be the way it works. That's what I'm picking up from this wording. If there are multiple champions on the same team, then it doesn't really work. Only one of them works. Fair enough. Ogrin Fortitude, place an 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies whose defense is higher than or equal to their attack for 2 turns. Whose defense on all allies, whose defense is higher than or equal to their attack. So all the defense-based and the support-based champions get increased defense. If an ally's attack is higher than the defense, places increased attack buff on them for 2 turns instead. Okay. 3-turn cooldown, increased defense for support champions, increased attack for nuke champions. Okay, fair enough. Kind of looking like a Hydra ability or like PvE ability, but increased attack in arena is good. Increased defense, again, for arena is good. Increased accuracy, It's okay. Maybe for live arena, this guy, because you see slightly less sheep in live arena, but I still haven't seen enough for him to be like up there. Increased defense, increased attack, though I would say it is a pretty good thing to have. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies. Then has a 75% chance of placing a weaken debuff for 2 turns. Problematic because of the obvious thing. We're not going to say it again. Stripping buffs is problematic. Placing weaken is problematic. 100% chance 3-turn cooldown. Yeah, that's his ability. That's all we're gonna say. Sheep risk can be sheeped without even taking a turn. Um, yeah, it's hmm. If Monkey's in sheep, he could just actually like if you kill Monkey and then Monkey revives himself with and he places weaken and the Monkey has sheep on, which some people might be running sheep on their Monkey. He might just instantly get sheeped, and that'd be unfortunate. Okay. A1. Attacks one enemy, has an 80% chance of stealing a random buff from the enemy. Also has the 80% chance of placing block buffs, debuffs on the enemy for 2 turns. His best ability, unironically, okay, I'm not going to say his best ability, but A1 is pretty strong. A1 is pretty strong. Single target, single strip, and a block buff, which is a 100% chance of landing, is very good. This is a very good A1, I gotta say. So A1 is very, very good. Good for Hydra. This thing is also good for Hydra, I want to say. Attacks all enemies, removes buffs and weakens. And increased defense and increased accuracy and increased attack. This champion is actually fantastic for Hydra. I'm not going to lie. This champion is not good for Arena. His anti-revive ability is worse than Lydia's. Way worse than Lydia's. Lydia's block revive is way stronger. Lydia has block active abilities, block buffs, and then poison sensitivity, I guess. She has fear on the A1, which it can get you sheeped, but it's there. She has decreased defense and weaken. She has strengthen and increased speed. She's a free champion. Yeah. Lydia is much, much better than this champion. I generally want to think about champions because when it comes to fusions, you really got to think about, okay, do I want this champion or is there other champions that I could go for rather than going and using my resources on Yugir or whoever the new fusion is. So Lydia's way ahead of this guy. Although I do like his kit, apart from his passive, which is kind of useless, I think. I do think his A3 for Hydra could be good. For Arena, it could be okay. Increased attack, increased defense is good. Strip is good for Hydra, and Weaken is good for Hydra. For Arena, not so much. And block buffs on the A1 is good for Hydra. For Arena, you're probably going to run into a lot of UDKs, so the A1 is going to get diverted to UDK. So there's a problem there too. You won't be able to land block buffs on the target you want to. But that's the champion. You guys let me know what you guys think. Is he worth going for? Are you going to skip him? I'm just going to skip him. I'm 100% skipping him. Not somebody I'm going to go for sure. But yeah, that's the champion.